Dr. Fernando Branch, thank you so much for coming on the My K-12 Career Show and sharing your story and your journey with our viewers and our listeners. Would you please tell us what's going on in your life and in your K-12 career right now?
Absolutely. Currently, I'm in the nonprofit space,
Okay.
really focusing on K-16, which
Okay.
I'm really enjoying that focus because I get the opportunity to see the journey, the long journey, right? Providing youth with wraparound supports through my current position. I'm serving as the Senior Director of Partnerships and Program for Colorado I Have a Dream Foundation,
Okay.
and working in conjunction with a lot of other nonprofits to in its Denver area, really provide wraparound supports for not just students, but also for families, because we recognize that it truly takes a village, especially when we're
Mhm.
talking about uplifting minoritized communities.
Sure. So you work with a lot of Black and Brown students and families?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I would say 98%
Oh,
of the
wow.
youth that I work with up here in Colorado identify as students of color
Hmm.
or low economics.
Wow. Okay. So how long have you been in that position?
You know what? This is a new role for me.
Okay.
I transitioned right before COVID from school leadership.
Okay.
Let me go back. Before that, 10 years as a teacher
Okay.
in Memphis city schools, now
Okay.
Shelby County schools.
Shout out to Memphis, Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a Memphis Tiger through and through.
There you go.
After that, I moved here and taught 1 year, and then ended up getting put in school turnaround as a school administrator for another 10 years. So
Wow.
yeah, it was a long journey. It was 21 straight years of turnaround.
Wow. So yeah, thank you for that, man. Like I know you really made an impact in those communities. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. So when you say turnaround, are you saying at the elementary level, the middle, the high school, all of the above?
all the above.
Okay.
K-12. Yeah.
K-12. That's what's up. Yeah. So how did this opportunity that you currently have, how did that come along?
Yeah. So the I would say this opportunity just sort of just fell in my lap as a result of networking and some of the past roles that I was in. I took a leave of absence from the district and doing turnaround because I wanted to go back to school to further my education and improve myself. So I just finished my doctorate, and in that process, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, a good friend of mine who was at that time, a couple years back, she was the CEO of KIPP Colorado Schools.
Okay. Okay.
Was like, hey, Fernando, I got an upstart organization that I'm really looking to turn it around. Would you want to come over and do this work with me in this nonprofit sector in this space? When I looked at it and looked at the values, I was like, you know what, this really aligns with the work that I'm passionate about.
Hmm.
Let's do it, and it's been going ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you make sure that students that graduate from high school also are successful in college. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. We
Mhm.
recognize there's no longer, I think, socially acceptable to get them to school without having a focus and providing supports and resources to get them through school,
There you go.
So
100%. No, that makes sense. As a high school administrator myself, like I'm always concerned not only about my students graduating from high school, but making that successful transition into, higher education and making sure they're successful. And sometimes that's super difficult when, obviously my lens and my focus is high school, but also I'm super concerned about those young people that have gone on from high school because I always call those schools, whether you're talking about elementary, middle, or high, like bubbles, right? And those kids are safe in those bubbles, but then when they get outside of that bubble, have we done what we needed to do to prepare them for that success after they leave the bubble, right? And
absolutely.
so, when you go from the elementary bubble, you go to the middle school bubble. When you go from the middle school bubble, you go to the high school bubble. But what about after that, right? So it's good to hear that you're working for an organization that also helps those young students of color be successful at the college level as well.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, yeah, so tell us more about this organization. I would love to hear more. I'm sure our viewers and listeners would love to hear more about what you do and how you impact those students, particularly once they get to the college level.
Yeah. So, this organization has been around 30 plus years in Colorado, and there's a national affiliate as well. I think it's up in Ithaca, New York, the I Have a Dream Foundation. And,
Okay.
the whole premise and the focus when it originally started was to bring resources to students that were, underserved.
Sure.
Um, and from there, it branched out to 13 or 14 affiliates across the country that
Okay.
do this work in Denver and LA and a couple other places. And um, each organization by state kind of has the core tenets around really to support students to get, whether it's post-secondary or if it's career, right? Because
Sure. Absolutely.
yeah, we gotta look now at opportunities. I can tell you, here in Colorado, you can go and get a certificated program and get it paid for, free while you're in high school, and then get out making 90 to 120,000 dollars a year if you have the
Wow.
right focus, right? So,
Sure.
really being intentional with, we call it our IPP, our individual programming plan for our students, and supporting them along that journey to allow them to get to where they want to get to.
Sure.
I think our org does it in a way that's really authentic. Because we start so young, we start at third grade, and
Sure.
we keep them with us as they grow up through middle school, and dealing with the challenges that we face with that, right?
Sure.
And then even when they get to high school, when it's not as things aren't as clear, right? There's a lot of change. There's a lot of balancing, a lot of management and skill development, soft skills as well as hard skill development that sometimes just don't happen. And in many cases, depending upon the school, there aren't a lot of resources to also support what's going on, specifically around those soft skill development. So we try to be that stopgap to give students more opportunities at bat to get experiences like internships or college tours. We would have
Oh, okay.
planned, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's go to an HBCU or a
Yeah.
PWI, really just exposing students to a variety of different options. And we believe that exposure and that access, as well as that family support dynamic, that's really what support our youth and our families to stay with us and to move through this journey with us as well. We really call it it's a journey, right? Because as Colorado have a dream, and we can help students achieve and accomplish their dream, ultimately, we believe that we can also increase their social mobility,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether they've experienced generational trauma or generational poverty, because people don't tend to think about poverty through a generational lens.
No, no, it's fair. And, most black and brown families and students have, dealt with that, right? Throughout their life. And, like you said, a lot of this stuff is generational, and it's really about, like you said, providing those young people with opportunities and exposure so that they can see that, how the great thing about America, and this is why I say we're the greatest country in the world, even with all the warts and everything that we have,
I agree.
our country, man. I mean, is how you start is not how you have to finish,
Yeah.
and I'm sure me and you are both living examples of that. I know for a fact, I mean, my mom had me when she was 18, and I'm sitting here as Dr. Williams. Like, that doesn't happen in Uganda. Okay. Like, I'm just being honest. Right. And so that's the beauty of our country, is that, it is a ladder to climb, and it is, like I said, it's not a caste system. So you can still have, and become anything you want to become if you want to work hard. And like you said, if you're given the opportunity, and exposure to all the things that are out there. So do you have like specific examples? I know obviously we're in the K-12 space. I'm in the K-12 space. I'm a high school principal. So I'm always looking for black and brown students to eventually become teachers.
Yeah.
Do any of your students take that track sometimes?
You know what? Yeah, and some of our alumni have definitely taken that route to, going to that the ultimate service field, right? Is what
Sure.
I call it. That's not it's we have an open program alignment where education falls into one of our 14 different focus areas around
Okay.
career readiness. So that's one option, but again, it's not it's not a set path that we
Sure, it's not a focus, a
no.
primary focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
that's fair.
personally,
That's
if
fair.
you ask me personally though, especially when it comes around black males, just to know that and you know this, the research supports that black male educators in the classrooms are
Mm,
it's best for everybody. So
100%.
I'm a little biased in the sense that when I do have a black male or a male of color in general, I stress the importance of what the opportunities could look like if you take this educational route.
100%. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened with me. Like, I was not an education major, and I was a pre-law major actually, and was accepted in a law school. But I always tell people, if you want to make God smile, tell him your plans because he might have other plans. So he
Same thing with
definitely.
me. I wasn't educated, an education major either, man. That's interesting.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
So you were called too.
I was. Let me tell you a quick story. I actually got a teacher scholarship to stay in state to go
Okay.
to PSU.
Okay.
And man, I was like, I am not gonna be a teacher. Ended up going to Arkansas Pine Bluff, HBCU,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. UAPB.
right? And she ended up becoming a teacher with a student loan. So it just it works out how it's supposed to work out, man.
100%. Yeah. I mean, we're all put on this earth, in my opinion, for a reason. And yeah, if it's your life path, it's your life path, even if you take the back way to get there,
Yeah,
you still
absolutely.
got there. So that's good. And I still feel like our K-12 field gets a bad rap. Why do you feel like K-12 education is such a great profession?
I think it really resonates to what you said a moment ago. My personal experience. I grew up in West Tennessee, and West Tennessee has always had challenges with education, even with it came to the race to the top money, right?
Yeah.
Receiving access to those resources because of the lack of academic achievement. So I can say that through my own personal experience and really growing up in communities and neighborhoods where, I think there was a lot of pride, but there wasn't a lot of academic success and achievement until you have like these small pockets of it, right? Even within that, I can tell you, man, I had amazing coaches, amazing teachers,
Yeah.
that really helped cultivate me. And I think in the public K-12 space, especially for students that identify and look like us,
Yeah.
invaluable.
Oh, 100%.
It's not only invaluable, but I think it also gets that tough rap because people, a coach, a good friend of mine once told me, he said, when I was early in my teacher career, I asked him, how do you build a dominant program?
Mm-hmm.
And he said something that still resonates to me this day. He said, you got to invest more time than anybody else.
Mm.
And when you really look at it now, I think that, people try to shortcut the authenticity of K-12, the relationships that are needed, and some of those soft skills. Whereas when we were coming up,
Mm-hmm.
it was important to know the extended family of a student, right?
Sure, sure, sure.
To know the historical context of the community and the neighborhood. And then all the other systems and so I think structures around that supported community schooling models. And I think I would say the last 8 years, we really, and I'm not going to say it's been bad. I think it's been progressive, but being progressive without holding on to, I think community is also, destructive in a way because
Wow.
these things you can't replace institutional knowledge about running schools and about teaching students within specific regions in school and in different cultures, right? That
Sure.
piece is, when I went in just like you,
Mm-hmm.
there were teachers who had been in my school 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So I had a mentor on top of a mentor on top of a
Absolutely.
mentor, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was in school leadership, my longest tenure of teachers were maybe 5, 6 years. So things are changing, and we're trying to, I think, adapt and hold on to what works, but also evolve into the things that we know that are effective as well. But there has to be, I think, there's a balance to try to find because the work is hard.
100%. The struggle is real, right?
Right. Yeah. It's not easy work, but it's also the most rewarding work that anybody could do. Right.
100%. 100%. So yeah, Doc, how long have you been doing K-12 education and now K-16 education?
Yeah. Man, I've been doing K-12 since I've been 23.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Well over 20 years, huh?
Yeah, I'm in my 40s now. So
Yeah.
and really working with the university students the last 5 years.
Okay.
It's been really fun as well. I had a short stint in college track.
Okay.
So that was an amazing organization to kind of see their national structure about how they look at student enrichment and after school based programming around tutoring college readiness. So big shout out to them and the work that they do as well.
100%. So Doc, I want to thank you for all the all the different schools that you worked in, the school districts you worked in, and just want to acknowledge and celebrate you for all the important work you've done, because, I started this show because I wanted to recognize people like yourself that have made an impact in school communities all across this country and, quite frankly, this world. So definitely want to give a shout out to you for the work you've done in Tennessee, the work you've done in Colorado, the work you're continuing to do. And I definitely want to thank you for coming on the show. But before you leave, would you please give our viewers and our listeners some parting words of wisdom? Tell us how we can stay connected to you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah. Oh man, you put me on the spot.
If there's somebody out there that's thinking about getting into this amazing profession that we have, what would you tell them? Because it's totally different, right? From when you got in at 23. Like what would you tell them coming into it in 2022?
Man, I can remember when I was a freshman in college, I saw a guy, he's a motivational speaker. His name was Willie Jolly.
Okay.
His name is Willie Jolly. He's still alive.
Okay.
Parting words, and I quote him. He said, it only takes a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, then refuse it, then seek it, then choose it, but it's up to you to use it. Woo! You will suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it, for it's only just a minute, but an eternity is in it. I leave that and I say that and I think that every day because the work that we do as educators, we have no idea what 60 seconds is going to change a kid's life until years later. And sometimes decades later when they reach back out and they say, Doc, that made a difference. Wow. And we might not even remember it.
Yeah.
And that minute changes lives. So
awesome.
I leave that to your viewers. That's and awesome. Feel free. You can reach out, Fernando Branch, LinkedIn. You can also check me out on academia.
Okay.
Fernando Branch at academia.com website as well. And, I'm on social media and everything else. Okay. Pretty easy, accessible to catch up with me. So
awesome. Well, thanks again, Doc, for coming on the show. We definitely wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And as that old saying goes, I don't feel like God is through with you yet. So I still think you have a lot more to offer, and I'm excited to see what the future has in store for you. So let's stay in touch, my brother.
Will do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All the best.
All right.